Greetings, everyone. Rev.Hawksblood here, calling from the big island of Hawaii. We got a lot to get into today. All right, now, there's so many people out there preaching, screaming, yelling, teaching, trying to teach people what, this, that, and the other thing. I'm going to get into it. Let me just pull one more thing up here. Try to see if I can get this all in one spot here. All right, it's going to be a little bit difficult, but try to stay with me. All right, let's start off in the beginning. If you cannot listen to this show, you're already programmed to believe that what you think you know is right and what's happening is right. But it's not, people. You're living in lies. You're being forced to believe the lies. And the saddest part is you're accepting them. Nobody on this planet, nobody is any different than any other person. To all the psychics, to all the mediums, to all the people out there that claim to be this, that, and the other thing, Superman, God, Jesus, Moses, or any reincarnation of anybody, you're who you are right now, a person, just like. All right? Nobody has better anything as far as spiritual, God, or truth. Sad part is, you think you do. All right? Most people that do workshops and discourses and things like that charge a lot of money. For what? What are they teaching you? That you're a better person than you think you are? You can tell your mind anything and it'll believe it. Tell yourself you're a bat or a monkey or something. Over time, it'll believe it. I don't know if you saw the video of this girl that was, what was she? A wolf all her childhood and grew up into a wolf in her mind. People, you could be programmed into anything, which I'll get into. All right. I studied 14 religions. I studied with masters, medicine women, 2 different medicine women. I studied with, here's words you might not know, deities. I don't know if you know what the word deity is. Hindus were the first people that created a religion, and they followed deities. Not sure many people actually knew what a deity was even then. You could use a word and not know what it means. How many people use the word God? Have a clue what it means, what it does, and what it really looks like, or any of that? 0 people. There's 8 billion people on the planet, and I would say maybe 1% of them have a clue about God, and 1% of that 1% really know what God is, does, thinks, and acts, and feels, and all those kind of words. What it really is to God itself and to us. All right, that's a starting point. Now, religions, we're going to get into every other aspect of that. We'll get into, but the problem is time. We're running out of time to do anything good, which we haven't done in 100 years. People, all these religions, all these paths, spiritual path and New Age paths, feel that they did something or helping and changing reality. Government changing reality. All these ideas, really? What has man done in the past 100 years? All right, think about it. Oh, we came up with a car, we came up with radio, we came up with, what else? Computers, telephones, cell phones, artificial intelligence. All right. We have people talking about religions. Okay, how many religions do you even know? There's over 2,000. 2 of them, the top 2, have the most followers. Christianity on the planet has 2.5 billion people that follow it. All right. Muslims have 2.3 billion people that follow it. So how many percentages of the numbers of the people on the planet is that already? The rest you got to break down into 2,000 groups. And then they each getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. But what do they do for the planet? What are they into? Ego, brainwashing to believe certain things, killing, murdering, destroying. When did they make them better? I'm in Hawaii, and it's not getting better in any way. Oh, we're going to put 400 houses in for homeless people. We have the highest homeless people in the United States. But they were living fine on the ocean. They built these little huts for them and everything. They took that away from them even. You know, when you're poor, you have nothing. When you're rich, you have everything. There's a big difference between the two. The poor people were probably much more considerate, compassionate, and friendly. All right? Well, the rich people are just the opposite. And I base it on facts. I live with two different millionaire families. One was a billionaire family. All right? And sorry to say, they were probably the cheapest people I knew. Oh, sure, the kids each get, $25 million when they turned 18. And he had 3 kids. He was a billionaire. All right? So how's that sound? What are those kids into? Anything they want to be. So when you have no money, what do? Try to get some kind of an education and try to get some kind of a job. Then you got people like Musk coming out and saying, well, we're going to have computers and robots doing everything. We don't need people doing little jobs. Little jobs means normal people's jobs. And even that's being taken away. So when you talk about who's going to run this country, you better think really hard on that. Trump's the backbone of what? Musk? Musk is the backbone of Trump? Figure it out yourself. In the next year, you're going to see the biggest upheaval. There'll probably be revolutions going on in the United States, just like the old days, when the East was fighting the West and things like that. Well, they were slaughtering the native people. We're going to be in a civil war, all right, inside the United States. Not even talking about what's going to come. And Trump just came out, thinks he could end the war. Mr. Trump's going to end the war. All right, people have a big mouth, big ego. And what did they do in time? Talked about a wall. That's basically all he talked about. Never did anything important with a wall. Talked about the virus. Who did he put in power to talk about the virus? Fauci. Now he wants to put Fauci in jail. People, do you follow the news? No, I don't listen to news. You don't know anything. You live brain dead. You don't care what's really going on. You're dealing with your own problems. Yes, we all have problems. But you're living on a planet that's going through major hell. From the earthquake, the volcanoes erupting in Hawaii right now, to the earthquakes around the planet. The Ring of Fire is crazy. It has been the worst it has ever been in 100 years, the past 2 years. The shifting of the planet is actually happening whether people understand that or even know what it means or how it can happen. Government's not going to tell you. They're not going to tell you anything. The whole idea about aliens and stuff, maybe I'll get into that. I mean, that's the last I'll talk about because that's the least believed or known or anything. But now, religions, we have this idea of oneness. We're all one. One with what? The universal energy. All right? The universe. What's the universe think about? More children, more people, starving people, homeless people, giving drugs to people. What's the universe think about, people? If you are part of something that has everybody's attention and part of, how come it's so ignorant? How come it doesn't do anything important? How come it doesn't create good things? Earthquakes, volcanoes, giant fires. I mean, what does the universe create? More children? Starving children, homeless children, children being sold? What do you think the universe does for anybody? Oh, I'm connected with the universe. I can fly into it. Oh, now, we're going to go into all that. I'm going to stick with this for a while. All right. Now, 2 different religions. I'm not going to go into detail names or anything. I'm going to try to explain. One religion, a woman has to be a virgin to get married. Really? Guess who finds out if she's a virgin? Find it out. Find that information out yourself. Other religions are allowed to abuse their wives. Legally. How's that? Some are allowed to have sex with their boys. How's that? The things that are going on in so-called religion in the disguise of working and following God Do people have a clue? No, they don't. If you knew God, you wouldn't be doing 90% of the things you're doing. The world wouldn't be getting toxic. Food wouldn't be getting toxic. Everything would be better. We wouldn't be shooting our children, letting them play with guns and shoot other children. We wouldn't be doing all those things, people. What God do you follow? Man from Glad, Batman, Superman? What's your God? What does he look like? What is it, a male or female? Well, women want to believe it's a female. If God was a female, per se, the world would be 1,000 times better. It would have compassion, and all the people would have compassion, which we don't. How many people understand compassion? Never mind the word love. Love is so far out of everybody's consciousness, it's mind-boggling. Oh, I love you. It's just a saying. What's it mean? Oh, I love to have sex with you. I love to go out and party with you. But what do you love about the person really? Well, they smell nice. They look nice. They look sexy. What do you love about a person? Do you understand their soul? Do you understand anything about their actual soul, who they are? What kind of aura they radiate? Every person on this planet radiates an energy form, which is called the aura, around a person. It comes from soul. It doesn't come from the mind. It doesn't come from the body. Nobody can change it. You can't make it something else other than what it is. If you could read aura of a person, you would know who and what they are. I'm just going to throw this in. Atlantis, we had 32 psychic abilities, same as Jesus did. All right. Jesus never claimed to be God, ever. You foolish people. One sentence in the Bible says, I am that. All right. No, they didn't understand what Jesus said. They don't even understand what he was teaching. And he was teaching people things, people. He spent as much time as he could teaching the disciples. What? Love each other. Tell each other you love each other. What's that mean? You can't know something if you don't experience it. So, what happened near the end? Most of the people, his own followers, turned against him and had him killed. Now, Judas was one of Jesus's prime people, really. He was one of the top disciples. Oh, well, he didn't sell out. He did everything Jesus told him to do. Jesus would have never died if he didn't get Judas to do what he was supposed to do. Jesus could have lived any point in his life if he wanted to, but he couldn't. He was teaching something to the world. Do you understand that? He didn't have to die. He said, I'm not God. I'm not this. I'm not that. And he never said, I'm not. Because when people said, I am what you call me. Call him Batman. Call him Superman. Call him Green Hornet. Call him a word. The Hulk. Whatever. God? Well, you call me that. That's what you think I am. People think whatever they want. Create stories and ideas from ideas. Jesus did not come here to save everybody's sorry ass. If that was true, we wouldn't be in hell right now, would we? Now, when he worked with this, not the disciples, but people, children ran to him for reasons. They could see his light. People around him, the women ran to him. There's books out there saying, no, Jesus didn't walk with children and didn't do this and didn't do that. Well, guess what? They're all twisted, false information. They're feeding you. I don't know if you believe in reincarnation, and you should. It's something you should learn before you die. And you should learn what you did in other lifetimes. It'll help you understand how much karma you have to pay off. Where you are in a situation with your own karma. Where you're going. What you're going to do when you die. If you don't believe in death, fine. Just go into nothingness. Oh, go into the universe. Be a star. I mean, they name people after stars or stars after people. But why? Does that make you a better person? Well, I'm going to become a star when I die. Really? A superstar? Well, it's all lies. Very little is known about Jesus, never mind God. All right? Like I said, I don't think most people believe in reincarnation. A few Christians here and there are starting to accept it a little because they had an experience or something. But it's not recognized in the religion itself. Now, what about aliens? I'm not going to say his name. I'm not going to give him energy. But there's a religious preacher, black religious preacher, talking about UFOs and stuff. And he doesn't allow white people into his classes, temples, workshops, whatever. All right. Mankind believes what people say. People believe what other people wrote. People write things whenever they write things. Has to be true. A person like Zecharia Sitchin wrote about the Anunnaki, and half and 3/4 of the UFO world believe in it. That the Anunnaki created humans. Who created them? I'm not going to say the words. People talk about angels. All right. Angels are real. Not really here. They don't live on planet Earth. They live in what you assume is heaven. All right. And they work with people here through energy and things like that. But they don't come here and walk. I mean, the movie like Lucifer and things like that were really cool. But in reality, they don't come here now. Way back when, once upon a time, they did. Deities are much more powerful than an angel is. But neither one of them ever took on a human form. Soul doesn't have to. But when soul's in nowhere land, doesn't know what it is, it has to come into a body. Has to learn what soul is, which you are. We all are soul. We're not this stupid little body we walk around in that's going to die, feed it, it gets fat, do this, that, and it has all kinds of problems. It's like a car. It gets old and dies. Soul doesn't. When Jesus talked about that, you'd have to understand a lot of things to understand half of what he said. And they were poor people. And they didn't know much. I mean, a farmer, a fisherman, a horse carrier. I mean, people that did things, they knew what they knew. But when you add God to it, they knew little. They worshipped multiple gods then as well. There's only one God. Lots of deities, lots of angels, lots of entities, and many of them can play God in your mind. All right? You know what's the most powerful word when you leave your body? God. You don't have to say Jesus because most demons and aliens don't care about Jesus. All right? Jesus spent a long time with Satan, didn't he? Did he kill him? No. He didn't listen to him. But he did not kill him. And these people that follow Lucifer, the Luciferians, they're a sick group of people. Just as the Galactic Confederation, they follow an invisible entity. Lucifer is a real being. He's a real angel. He was the highest angel. He's no longer up in the higher realms, but he came down because he had to with a bunch of other angels. He didn't become evil. Evil's here. Satan's the only one that feeds us more stuff to deal with. And believe it or not, Satan's the kind of person who'll give you more of what you want, not less. Oh, you sow your soul. You sow your soul. You know what that means? You stay in hell, which is planet Earth, not inside it, burning up, or any of those words. You're programmed over and over by everything and everyone. You believe this, you believe that. Food, organic food's healthy. No, it's not. No more healthier than anything else. Well, this is organic milk. You know they expose milk to radiation? All right. I can't get into too many things. They'll take my show right off the air. I already got censored about 30 times before I even got the show set up. I couldn't even put a topic on there without them saying, no, that's not allowed on AOL. I mean, on YouTube. What are you allowed to say? Blank, blank, blank. Oh, yes, blank, blank, blank. Oh, yes, blank, blank, blank. So, yeah, the title is what it is. I don't know how much they hated the title. It was another word even, but very similar, just a plural to it. So, people, you're getting programmed. And what do you think's going to happen when Mr. So What gets in? He already said he wants to ban all the cartoon pictures of him and actual looking like real pictures of him on his knees to Musk and then other pictures of him with angels in back of him and him on his knees and stuff. All these things are programming your subconscious mind. You see something over and over and over, it becomes part of you. I was 12 when I met Kreskin. He was like the most famous hypnotist in the United States. And I studied with that for a while. Then I met him again. And by the time I was 13, I was really practicing hypnosis. But by the time I was 14, I had all my friends in the neighborhood hypnotized to a certain word. Every person I knew had a word, and if I said that word, they would go unconscious, and then I could tell them to do whatever I wanted them to do. I always did it in front of people. All right, when all my friends get together, what do you want Joe to do today? Oh, we want him to go do this. Hey, Joe, and I'd say hippopotamus, and okay, you're in the jungle, and there's a blah blah blah, and then I bring him back, and he's right there. All my friends had it, and they all eventually said, "Take this spell off me. Take this spell off me." By the time I was 17, I studied with an army hypnotist, and I learned you can make anybody do anything you want them to do. Hypnosis, the society says you can't make a person do anything they don't want to do. Oh, yes, you can. It's called converting their ideas to something else. The army hypnotist I worked with, poor God now, but he was in the army working with soldiers, proving you could hypnotize a person, they take a gun and shoot their own brother. All right? So it's called reprogramming. You give them an idea, say, when you see your brother, it's not really your brother, it's blah, blah, blah. And it's called conditioning. I'm not going to go into the details. Two major people destroyed the whole creation of what was happening in the world, like John Lennon and the guy that killed Oswald and all that kind of stuff that went down. Reprogramming could take a year to manifest. Once the thought is in the subconscious mind, it stays there until it's taken out. And there's different ways to take it out. You don't leave it there. Everything I did in hypnosis, I mean, some of the kids were doing some bad things, but everybody knew it. Everybody wanted them to do it, and this, that, and the other thing. One of them was crying. I said, "Take this spell off me. I'm never going to come out again." But by the time I was 18, I started doing past life regression. Then I started doing psychic implant removals. All real stuff, people. And by the time I was 25, I was doing exorcisms. Real as well. Some people believe they're a demon and you could work it out. I have a friend, one of my pretty good friends, that's all he does for a living. He'll do an exorcism over the phone. I wouldn't even try to do that. But that's what he does for a living. All right. So people, you got to understand there's a truth and there's a lie. What do you want to follow? Well, I believe. You believe doesn't mean anything. Your belief is based on programming. You wouldn't believe in Snow White, Santa Claus, or any of them people unless you were showed that and told that. And it's real. The boogeyman's real. What does that do to a child's mind? Considering a child is more open to soul and spirit than anybody else ever is as they grow older. Meaning they couldn't see entities. They can see the light. But a lot of children can't even talk yet, and they see the light and things like that. And sure enough, no mother is going to teach their child anything important. I know about, 35 years ago when they came out with words about children. Indigo child. All right. Oh, he's an indigo child. Oh, he's psychic. But they didn't know about protection. And then that slowly came out. Burn sage because the native people did it. Do this. And it doesn't really help. It's only changing the way you program your own mind. Satan can't step into your life unless you let it. All right. It's an entity. It's a real entity, and it loves to play havoc on planet Earth. Sadly, most people on Earth love that word. They love sex. They love drugs. They love speed, traveling fast, doing things. They like to put their life on the line, whatever they do. It's exciting and cheap thrills. Auto asphyxiation was the number one death of children for a couple of years. You don't know what it is, look it up. But even Kung Fu Carradine, he did it, and he died in his own house. But he went next door, chopped up the house next door. His brain was being reprogrammed by his own self. Take Bruce Lee, my favorite martial artist. Well, his ego kept growing. The more you become bigger and stronger, the greater your ego goes. Most martial artists that are really high are pretty egotistical and believe that they have the right to do whatever they want. But here's the thing. Bruce Lee was torturing his body. And he was told by doctors if he doesn't stop, he's going to kill himself. He didn't die by the Chinese mob or any of those stories. I met his wife the week after he died, New York City, Madison Square Garden. All right, Carradine was there at that time. But Carradine's like this. He was stoned out. But his wife was going on, talking about Bruce Lee, how he died and everything. You know, the stories that we hear. I mean, every once in a while you see stories, this person died. Why would a person put up a story about somebody dying when they're not? People get kicks out of the most horrible things. Why? Because they had sick programming. People join the army. Why? Why would you join the army? Well, we're going to save the country. You know, the United States has more deadly weapons than any other planet out there or anybody on this planet as well. We were given top information by Mr. Tesla from alien races. I'm not going to get into the war. That's too much for you to understand or believe right now. If you're even listening to this, you got a pair of balls. Most people don't. Oh, that's scary. Oh, that's so. And they tune out. But that's their choice. They don't want the truth. They like living in fantasy world. Everything's getting better. Really? The wall is better. Sending all these people back to a country. How did these other people get into this country? Who allowed Trump's family in here? Who allowed George Washington, Jefferson, and all those people to come into the United States? Who gave them the okay? How many papers did they have to sign or anything? Who did Christopher Columbus bring to the new lands and stuff? The Vikings were the only people that came to the United States that didn't fight with the native people. Why? They weren't at war with them. When the white man came into the United States, they had to figure a word for the red people. Red always was associated with the devil. And it was okay to kill a demon. So they related to native people as demons, and it was okay to kill them. And they got paid to kill them, people. The government paid anybody that would come back with a native scalp, whether it was a woman, man, or child, different amounts of money for that. That's why everybody was allowed to carry a gun, people, as well. Not so that they could shoot, terrorist group coming into their house or whatever. If any of those things happen, you with a gun's not going to save anybody, and you're only going to get yourself killed. The old phrase, if you pick up a gun, you're going to die by a gun. You know, people don't want the truth. I mean, there were sayings that came out. Whoever said them was right on, whether they knew how powerful the statement was or not. When Jesus said this, many times in the Bible as well, he said, it's easier for a camel to go through an eye of a needle than a rich person to get into heaven. Why would he say that? Because it's true. People with money aren't thinking about God. They're sure not thinking about children, starving, being sold, and all those kind of things. Now, Trump says he's going to release the name of Epstein, right? The names of people on that sheet. But he would have to get rid of his own name on that sheet. Wouldn't he? Because I put a picture of him up and they took it down right away. But some sites you can put him up and things like that. But he was friends with Epstein for years. He was in business with him, people. He was friends with Hugh Hefner, going to the Playboy Club. What does that mean, people? And guess what? Hugh Hefner threw him out. And was sorry he was his friend because he put him on the cover of Playboy magazine, Mr. Rumpo. All right. So what are you thinking, people? That these are good people? You're going to help the what? And who's he putting in office? Musk, the most powerful person on the planet right now. I just read somebody's more rich, much richer than he is. But again, he's a 3-time trillionaire. Supposedly, that's what I just read yesterday. But people, Musk is going to be making tons more money. But where does he get the money from? The United States. He doesn't pay for the spaceships. He doesn't pay for the things that he's creating and working on. So he's releasing and trying to release a satellite, a little one. He's trying to release a water car now. He's going into that. And he's trying to go into a bunch of different things. A subway that travels faster than the speed of whatever. Sound. because another country has it. He went there. But now they're saying that he could expose a lot of top United States secrets, which he is doing in a subconscious way or a physical way, however you want to look at it. Look at what's going to go on in his world. What is he going to do? And he's talking about Social Security, welfare. Trump's talking about war. Neither one of those two people had the balls to join the army. Must have left his country not to join the war. Trump had a spoon up his you-know-what and didn't have to. People, if you follow the news, everything's twisted and everything's part right, but there's always a truth somewhere within it. It's your situation to learn how to figure out how to find which is the truth in it and which is the lies in it. Everything can't be a lie and everything can't be true. Most writings in history are twisted stories. They still do not, not me, still don't know how man got to planet Earth. They still don't know how old man really is. And we aren't cavemen. We weren't cavemen. We didn't come from cavemen, people. Way back when they thought we did, they called it the missing link because they didn't have the link between cavemen and humans. All right? And there is none because we didn't come from cavemen. We came from other worlds. And the races were different planets, not just different DNA and blah, blah, blah. Black race came from one place. The red place came from another place. White people came from another place. Sadly, when they got to this planet, after Atlantis was destroyed, there were 9 races here. All right? 4 of them stayed, had to, and the rest left already. They already attained God realization and left. Self-realization is your first step, but when they attained God realization, they didn't have to stay here. So the ones that stayed, black, red, yellow, and white, stayed. And guess what? Now the Anunnaki were reprogramming them. The deities have already left. And these so-called aliens came down to start teaching. They taught the Egyptians. They taught the Mayans. They taught the Aztecs. Nothing important. Building pyramids is not important, people, whether you want to know that or not. They're not going to save us. And they were never built to save us. All right? The lies written in Egypt are all lies. The hieroglyphics are false information. They know nothing about real reincarnation. Neither do aliens. They believe they're powerful. They believe whatever they want. And something you should do is there's an alien interrogation, which is a real interrogation of an alien. It's online. Watch it. Watch what the alien says. And they're trying to make them tell the truth. They said one person's going to destroy the planet. All right. Who's going to be responsible? And the government was trying to torture him and make him tell him. Who is it? Who is this person? You know what the government would have did. But he said, I can't say it. I don't know. I don't know his name. And I can't say it. But the things that are happening. Tesla worked with an alien race, people. He didn't come out with 200 inventions out of going to some college, which he wasn't no genius. Neither was Einstein, but that's besides the point. We're dealing with Tesla, because Tesla gave the United States 50 of the most deadliest weapons, past, present, and future, on this planet. The worst thing that they actually released was time travel. And we can do it, people. We did a major, serious problem to the planet. I'm not going to get into that. All right. We have our lives to live. All right. Our money is not going to be worth much. All right. And what they're planning on happening and what they want to do, well, everybody has their own thoughts. Hillary wanted to bring, 134,000 Muslims into the United States yearly and things. Everybody has their idea what's right, what's wrong, what's better. Well, we're not going to get into all that. Religions are the downfall for the world. The white race, basically what? Catholics. All right? The Catholics hoarded everything that was truth and put it in their underground cave. You know how long their tunnels are that have all that information? I mean, there was one guy, they gave him permission to go down there to read one set of files wherever he wanted to go and things like that. But the truth was there. They took the truth from the native people and stuck it in there. The United States, the men here killed the Quakers. They did a lot of number. And then we had witches before that, and they were killing. They didn't kill a lot in Pennsylvania, where they said they were all killed. Only 2 women were killed as witches there during that whole time frame. People were getting arrested and going to court and all that kind of stuff. But again, everything you hear is twisted lies, usually 10 times worse, 10 times further away from the truth. Do you want to know what Jesus' teachings were? Follow me. I'm dealing with many people. I was a high priest at 16. I challenge anybody that considered themselves a high priest, including of the mob. All right. Now, here's one thing. If you're working with Satan, you got no power over God. If you're working with Lucifer, you got no power, period. All right? Killing animals, killing people, and all that has nothing to do with Lucifer, God, or anybody. All right? So, all these groups of people forming that got created, the Knights of Templar. All right? Now, I almost joined it in this lifetime, but I won't and didn't. For a couple of reasons. They're into money. You got to pay for each initiation you get. And on top of that, they're sold out to love and light. Everything's love, but it's not love. Nothing's love. You can't kill in the name of love. People have a twisted idea because they don't know what love meant. And to say Jesus was teaching love, how do you teach love, people? Think about it. Be real. How could I teach you about love? Kissing you, hugging you, having sex with you? Calling you sweetie, beautiful? What's going to make you love me? Here's the truth that I'll tell you. You know, they say everything's in balance. Love's out of balance. Because you can make anybody on this planet, anybody, hate you. You can't make anybody on this planet love you. Oh, you have $1 billion. Oh, I love you. But you can't make them truly love you. I have you sitting in a chair for 1 hour, I can make you hate me. Just chop off your hand, pull out your teeth. I mean, simple things. You'd hate me. So when Moses came out with his 63 laws, not 10, all right, read them. Read the Old Testament. He was twisted. And the story, he wasn't allowed into the Promised Land. The Promised Land wasn't a piece of land, people, whether you believe that or not. Because when those people got to there, what they called the Promised Land, there were people living there. Imagine that. And they had to kill them all, which they did. All right. If that sounds like a spiritual path, tell me where I'm wrong. People, you follow truth and lies. You disregard the truth, and you fill with the lies you fed. Jesus healed people. Jesus could do a lot of different kind of miracles. They're not talked about. All right. Moses was, I call him the highest black magician. All right. But you can't kill people in the name of God. All right. That's one thing you can't do. So when Moses said, oh, you lied, you stole, cut your hands off, if you saw some bad, poke your eyes out. I mean, all these ridiculous things. But he was against sex at every level. Nudity. Read his laws. All right. Then the 10 Commandments, the whole Ark of the Covenant thing, it's the most powerful. Well, obviously there's something else in there. And a person named Nasar Harriman, people pull him up. He claims to have one of the Ark of the Covenant. He says the other one's owned by the government. Delusional. And he's got a big following. And he was trying to raise money to build them, to link his Ark of the Covenant with the government one and change the reality of the world. No one has the power or the right to do that. No one. All right. And when people think they have the power and the right to create karma for a lot of people, it's karma that has to be worked out. But I mean, if you're in a room and somebody comes and shoots you all, you're involved with the karma, but you're not the one that's creating it. You're the victim of your own karma, paying off karma, not being the one that's creating it, the guy that comes in with a gun and whatever and shoots everybody. There's a lot of things people don't talk about. The reasons what happens, why it happens. And I mean, people go to jail. People have no right to take another person's life. Now, Biden just freed people, 1,400 people from getting a death sentence. Nobody has the right to inject somebody else to kill them. Nobody has the right to pull a switch to electrocute somebody. Nobody. God wouldn't do it. Never mind you as a person. Our morals have shifted to nowhere. We have created nothing beneficial in 100 years. You know, the native people had it the hardest in the United States. People, do you realize that? Over 50 million native people were killed in 400 years. And they're still being persecuted. 1920, they still had children in prison camps, which I call, they were Catholic schools. If they didn't allow them to cut their hair off, they'd kill them. I mean, and they were put in these schools, forced to learn whatever they were trying to feed them, that at 16, they made them start drinking before they sent them back home. Native people can't drink. It screws them up completely. And in Alaska, it's against the law to drink, believe it or not, for Native people. So there's a lot of laws that they create against people with no justified right to do it. Native people, I'm not going to go into how bad it is. But everybody listening to this, realize Mr. Biden put a video up of him talking to the Native people. He actually said he was sorry. And he talked about what happened to them, how the Constitution was stolen from them, how a lot of things went down. I've been begging them ever since I saw it to put it on TV. Every citizen in the United States should see that, including Trump and Musk, are the ones that are going to save the world, make it better. Really? If you don't love everybody, how can you make it better? If you separate people from people, you're not making anything better. I don't know how people can't understand that. And then people had the balls to go out and vote for Trump. Not that government's good. Government, the Constitution, which was created by you know who, Jefferson was fighting a lot of it. Because he's the one that said we have the right to form a militia. And it was called the Patriot Bill, which Mr. Bush himself changed the day after 9/11. He reversed it. The Patriot Bill was so that if the government got out of control, the people can form a militia and change the government. That's what Jefferson wrote, and it became a law. But Mr. Bush said, day after 9/11, you're either for us or you're a terrorist. He classified 450 organizations then as terrorist groups, including Greenpeace. People, if you don't follow the news, you don't listen to everything, you're never going to find the truth. Because you're going to hear a bunch of lies, and now you're going to pick which lie you want to accept. All right, now they're condemning channels and their prejudice and their prejudice. Everybody's prejudiced, whether they admit it or not. Does everybody love gay people? Does everybody love transsexuals? Does everybody love life? I mean, I'm at a place in my life. I've been there, done it, had 5 death experiences, spent 40 years traveling out of my body. I'm aware of all my past lives. What do I need here? What's beneficial for me right now? Trying to talk to people that don't want to open their ears or eyes or anything, see the truth, to hear the truth? You know how hard it is to get somebody to listen to truth? Well, that's your truth. Everybody has a truth, but it's not the real truth. If I believe an apple's a spaceship, it's your truth, but it's not mine, and it's not everybody's. People, you're living in a sad time and being controlled and programmed, and you're not doing a thing about it. When you're starving, when you can't get gas in your car, when you see people you know getting deported and things like that, what are you going to do? Well, maybe I shouldn't have. Maybe I shouldn't have. Maybe you should know what's really going on. All right. You know, why is it? And they say gold's in porn. Gold came in porn. It boosted a person's ego. They were able to do things. Control a country. And it was all based on gold. And now they wanted to go from gold to what? Coins online, make-believe coins? Really? Is that where you want to go? See how long that's going to last. Somebody hacked your computer and they got all your money? It's not even real. And you could lose it within a second. Now, the government has the ability to tap into anything, anywhere, anytime. If you know anything about HAARP, HAARP system, why it was created, who created it, and what for, and all that, the government didn't know when they had it. Jesse Ventura went into the White House and talked to the people involved with that. And I said, why would you create this? Well, we didn't know what we were going to use it for. But it is the top dangerous weapon on the planet. A nuclear bomb's no longer the most dangerous weapon, people. A directed energy beam could be shot anywhere. I mean, that has to do with chemtrails. It has to do with a lot of things. Well, they're not real. That's not real. But Jesus was God. Why? Does God have to die for you to get rid of your sins? Of course not. God will never die. God never did. Jesus took on a mission, which he was allowed to. But again, he didn't go around saying, I'm God, I'm God, I'm God, I'm God. No, he didn't. Never. He was teaching how to find God. That's all. When he married Mary Magdalene, he proved to them and showed them what love was. He was killed right after that. But she had his baby. It was a female girl. It was a girl. But and then she left the country. Had to sneak out. But here's the thing, people, that you don't understand. Jesus was killed. Dead. Right? Now, here's a bunch of disciples. What now? What now? Well, let's go back to eating. Let's go fishing. They didn't think any further than that after Jesus was killed. Mary Magdalene came to them, all right, and said, I'm going to finish teaching you. Peter obviously didn't want it. Well, I'm not going to listen to a stupid woman. I'm not going to. No, I have no way. We don't follow women. We're the man. We're the boss. Blah, 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 blah. And why did most people believe that? I guess most people were programmed by the story of Adam and Eve. Woman was taken out of Adam's ribs, right? No, impossible story. But even the story of Adam and Eve is a bunch of lies, people. Read it 10 times. Listen to the wording. All the wording's lies. Listen to what God says. It wasn't God. He said, our kind. Our, O-U-R-K-I-N-D. Our kind. What's an our kind? Our kind of a God? They were aliens, people. And I hate to say it. Aliens reprogrammed mankind greatly. And they accepted it. Because in Atlantis, the only time we actually lived in the Garden of Eden, and there were many people there, we had 32 psychic abilities. You couldn't lie, you couldn't steal, you couldn't do anything. Because you could see and know everything everybody's thinking and doing. But we didn't eat animals. We didn't kill animals. I mean, it was a whole different reality. Aliens couldn't use us either. So they destroyed Atlantis. And the 4 races that were left were reprogrammed to kill. If you follow history, and that's a fact, people, whether you want to realize it or not, listen to great stupid stories, the whole pyramid thing and all that. What aliens, yeah, aliens were programming them, convincing them. Why did they sacrifice children and women? And they were accepted as a spiritual race? Really? Your mind has been washed in soap and then stuck in vinegar and pickled, I guess, whatever. You don't know the truth, don't want the truth, and already live in a programmed idea of a reality that doesn't exist and will never exist. The world of peace. As long as there's multiple gods on this planet, we'll never respect each other. And I have a hard time dealing with anybody that doesn't even believe in God. I mean, Buddhism is against God. They don't believe in God. And it's hard to deal with people, including my person I live with. You know, when you talk about God, oh, God's not whatever you think it is. I used to do many shows on that. And the first thing I tell people, write down a list of what you think God is. And on the other side, write a list of what God isn't. You can't write God is everything. All right? For the starter, you have to name everything you think God is. All right? Well, God is loving. God is compassionate. God is this, that, and everything. No, it's not. Do you know what the word compassion? What about God makes it sound like it's compassionate? allowing them to kill Jesus, kill all his disciples? Do you understand anything? No, you're programmed to believe this part of the truth. Jesus died and rose again. That is true. He came back to the disciples that actually were taught by Mary Magdalene. All right. Most of the disciples actually saw Jesus again. Paul never did. He had a vision of Jesus when he met him. And he had one of the disciples, two of them were disciples, and two of them were evangelists. One of them followed Peter, and one of them followed Paul. Like I said, Paul never saw Jesus in the physical body, which the other disciples did. Well, I wouldn't call it a physical body, but saw him again, all right? People, you don't understand that. Nobody in those time frames could understand it. Why should you? They were right next to it. They saw parts of it. They were involved with parts of it, and they still have no clue what was going down. Why would you kill somebody like that? Why would you kill the whole thing that was happening? Life is only about power, money, and fame. What else is it? Men have 5 reasons to be here. Add sex and drugs, cheap thrills, and sports, and cheap sex. What else do they have or want? God? And then those people that say they follow God. Well, I pray. Pray to God for what? God, you think God's listening to your prayers? Oh, you said save these people. Oh, I guess I have to save them. Oh, you said do this. Oh, I guess I got to save them too. Oh, your son's that. Oh, I better save him too. No. Does God do it? Miracles happen. But to say God has to make a miracle because you asked for it? Why? God, make the world beautiful. Make it loving. How many people pray for that? 50% of the people on the planet. Is it happening? No, it won't happen. As long as you could sit there and say, I go to church, I'm spiritual, and not even know what the word spiritual means. Then turn around and turn to your wife and say, I love you. You don't even know what that means. How far does it go? Now, for the ignorance of people, reincarnation is real. I proved it over and over to myself, and I proved it, and I saw other people prove it to themselves. But what does it mean? You had another lifetime. You had another lifetime before that. You had another lifetime before that. What did you learn? People don't learn anything important in this reality. Sorry to tell you that. Praying's not going to teach you about God. About a real God. Not the program idea. This is God. He does this, this, and this. No. He. It's not about he. All right? Then what? What are you going to do? All right? You can follow your dreams. Is it going to get you anywhere? Dying. The most practical, probably the only thing that's going to happen is going to make it to the limit if you possibly ever can, which nobody's doing right now, 125. But if you ever attain that, guess who you would see die? Oh, your family. Isn't that scary? It should be. Why do you want to live forever? My favorite movie was Highlander. If you ever watched that, it was really cool. But for you, when Jesus was being killed, his disciples were going to fight for him. And he said, no, you can't do that. All right, you walk a spiritual path, you either walk it or you don't. Killing is not part of a spiritual path. All right. Intention, what are you here for? To find out who you are as soul, not a person that goes to a club, goes out to a bar, or drives a race car. That's not who you are. That's what you're doing in the now. But when you die, you're a soul. Everything you ever learned in all your past lives are part of you at that point. You're aware of it for a short time. The whole time you stay in the astral plane, which everybody calls heaven, you're given, I'd say, roughly 5 to 10 years before you reincarnate. And when you come back, you're back at day start 1. Don't remember a thing about any of your lifetimes, which takes lifetimes and lifetimes to start piecing it all together, why you're here, what you didn't learn, what you should be learning. It's a very short time to learn what you need to learn. If you're focused on it and put your attention on it, praying, doing meditation, still not going to get you there. There's angels, all waiting for you to open up your space. And the deities and entities take on many different forms. Entities can take on any form that you think you want. You want to be with an angel. The Anunnaki is a real race. All right? But who cares? Now, the tall whites, no, not the tall whites, another race, sorry. And when people see them, they think they're Jesus. Tall, white robe, blue eyes, blonde hair. But Jesus wasn't that ever. Your image of Jesus is a complete lie. All right? He was darker skin, much darker than anybody could perceive. All right? He didn't have super long hair. But you could see his aura. He was the only soul that I know in that lifetime that radiated light around his body. Some people could see it. Very few people could. If you touch the God realization point in your life, every other God realized soul on this planet will know you. That's a fact. If you could ever get to that, it's the most important thing that can happen in this lifetime. To get there, you would know God, just so you know. Self-realization is the first step, and that means you understand what you are as a soul. You don't become God or anything, self-realized. God realization doesn't mean you become God either. It means you realize what God is, which gives you the permission to leave this realm permanently. All right? There's many cool things, but while you're here, it's not cool. Mankind's destroying our food, our air, our water, everything, giving us poisons. Every which way we're being attacked. Fires and all the other things, volcanoes, earthquakes, everything's against us. Why? You don't think the Earth's rebelling as well? Fracking and geothermal, do you know what they do? Nobody in Congress even has a clue what it means, and they should. Trump has no clue. I mean, this whole thing in the elections, the debates that you hear him talking about fracking, and, well, she was for it, now she's against it, and now she's for it. You know, it's not a good thing. It produces energy, but it destroys the planet. The physical planet, not the people on the planet. People, you know, I do workshops, I do classes. I only have a few prize students that I trust and will talk about anything with them because they're trying hard to take the next step, which is not becoming famous or rich. All right? And you have to go through hell. You got to live in hell, for real. And realize where you are. And then you'll want to get out. But if you're told you're in heaven, why would you want to leave? People that live here don't realize how bad it is. But when you let go of this body, what we're living in, and we call us, you know what happens? Your mind's gone. The 5 senses of the body are gone. Well, the astral plane, I don't want to get into it. It's very close to this reality, but 10 times better. All right? Because you could float around and do all kinds of things. But the plane after that, the male and female things start disappearing. You're a light being, not a body. And it just gets better. Multi-universes and stuff, all that you deal with, not just planet Earth and a bunch of people drinking, smoking, and killing each other. So it can get incredibly good and better as you move forward. I'm hoping that everybody could hear this, because I won't know until I play it back at the end of the show. I had trouble trying to pull up my music. I had a lot of problems. I couldn't get the site loaded because they didn't like my title, and I changed it 10 times. I put 3 different pictures in there. You know, free speech is being taken away. And you know who's going to destroy it completely? Musk says he wants it. Trump says he doesn't. And who knows how that's going to play out between the two of them. But Trump wants all this stuff taken down, and I went to put one picture up, and it said, this can't be put on YouTube. So again, I did have it up a while ago, but everything's changing now. All right, watch the change. Look for the truth. Look what's happening. Realize where you are. All right, people. I hope you have a good new year if you can. If you can. All right, I'm saying goodbye. But for people that want to stick around a little bit longer, I'll keep going. But I'm giving most of the people permission to leave because I know they're bored or they in the first place. All right, people, have a happy new year if it can be. I just lost my nephew. I just lost one of my best friends last week. You know, happiness, how do you get happiness when people that you love or care about die? It's hard. Well, the only thing I can say to myself is they're free from this world. They're going to a better place. Hopefully, depending on what karma they have. Karma brings you back, people. What you think you can get away with never disappears. Just because it disappears in the physical doesn't mean it disappeared in the spiritual realm. Because that'll follow you wherever you go. As many lifetimes as you have, your karma stays with you until it's paid in full. Different ways you pay it. Most people don't even know what karma really is or how to pay it off. Well, if I say 1,000 Hail Marys or 100,000 Hail Marys, I get rid of all my karma. No, it doesn't. You kill somebody, it doesn't disappear. All right, I'm going to go. These things I repeat a lot because people don't listen. In the Bible, there's the Old Testament and the New Testament. Moses wrote most of the beginning and pretty much of the Old Testament. And he knew nothing about a real God. All right. The Ten Commandments were written for everybody. There's nothing in there that could hurt a person. All right. When he came up with the 63 laws he created after that can hurt people. All right. And the whole aspect of that became a very bad thing for the human race. All right. Now they're fighting over land. Oh, that's the promise. No, that's not a promised land. Noah's Ark, if he didn't listen to an angel, guess what would have happened? Oh, well, that's not a real story. You can believe what you want. The stories get twisted, what really went on during it and while it was happening. There was an Ark of the Covenant. They made a wood ark to carry into the battlefield, but it wasn't the real one because it was too heavy to carry around. Imagine going to a battlefield with this heavy object. Really? And the other thing they don't talk about is when they opened the Ark of the Covenant, it went against bad soul. They want to talk about that. Either army, either side. It's just been killed. Bad people? Who's bad people? We're killing them and they're killing us. Who's badder, you or me? You know, those concepts are programmed into your mind. We're the good people. They're the bad people. Well, there's bad people and worse. And good people? Who's a really good person? Well, I don't do this and I don't do that. What do you do? How do you prove that you're spiritual? Going to church doesn't prove anything. Saying 1,000 Hail Marys doesn't prove anything. Bowing down and praying to God doesn't prove anything. If God, and this is created by Jacques Cousteau, his last movie, right before he died, he put out a video of the toxicity around the planet. And he showed all the oceans around each country, how toxic they are, how far out they're toxic. But at the end of that, he said, this is going to be the future. And this is no lie. It was cartoon sketches and just sketches of a satellite with a head in it. He said, we don't need a body. We just got to tell things and do what we want. And so it was like an AI controlling the reality. But, you know, it's kind of close in a lot of ways. I mean, they're coming out with a flying car. That's going to be the most stupidest, ridiculous idea we can possibly come up with. Imagine a drunk getting in a flying car. They're only allowed to fly so high. They'll be crashing into buildings and houses and everything else. It's going to be a serious problem what we create, and it always is. creating a hydrogen bomb, neutron bomb, proton bomb, or electric bomb was not beneficial to the human race. All right. Fracking, geothermal, is not beneficial to the human race. Using horses was really important for the planet, but you couldn't get around the planet fast enough on a horse, could you? So the United States is removing all horses from the United States. Do you know that? All wild horses are being sold to other countries for food. You think about that. Why are they killing all the wolves? Why are they killing all the bears? Why are they killing all the animals? There's a lot of reasons. Think about it. We got the government's not stupid, never was, but they weren't spiritual as well. Underground cities, people, are real. Are you living in one? Do you know anybody that is? Well, I can tell you this. Jesse Ventura exposed so much in his time that he did a TV show, exposed more things than any. And if you can pull any of them up, watch them. But no, like I said, I'm not sure that the voice is on. But what I'm going to do is say goodbye. Have a happy new year, whatever you can. Hopefully it's happy for you. Think about finding the truth, living in the truth, understanding the truth, why you're here, where you go when you're going to die, what really happens. All those questions, you should answer them for yourself. I could give you the answers, but it's not going to help you. Believe them. All right, people, I'm going to say goodbye again. I could go on, but I'm sure most of you are tired. If anybody even came back in, sorry, start the video over and watch it. But people, it's as real as it gets. I don't lie. I don't have a reason to lie. I'm not doing this for money. I pay for my show, people. And they raised it. I was paying like, what, $30? Now they raised it to $55 a month. And I only did one show. I was doing so many things this month and last month. I almost canceled. But it gives me a little bit of hope when I put it out there that somebody might listen and get something from it. I'm not changing the world. I don't want to. I can't. Nobody can. All right? You can change things for a while and make people believe things, but you can't change reality. All right, people. Love and light, compassion, truth, whatever you need in your life, don't stop until you get it.